Well, being the son of a migrant, I sort of fell into coffee. You know, every time the rallies had come over, all I'd see is a tablecloth go on the table with the coffee pot on the stove, the biscuits came out, and it was a free-for-all. You know, my house is your house. So my dad was a coffee fanatic. I saw this beverage that united communities and united families, so it always intrigued me. When I started in the coffee industry, obviously it was quite infant stage, and I came in at the right time in 2002. People were drinking a lot of instant coffee. Back then it was about 80%. Now we've got about 60 to 50% drink instant, but the opportunity was huge. In Italy, they've been drinking espresso coffee, for 100 plus years. The opportunity that I saw was to start educating the public about real coffee. So this whole passion of mine developed of education. I wanted to take coffee as a product, but I wanted to educate people that drank coffee how they could go to that next step. The opportunity in Brisbane was all about the timing. Back then, Brisbane hadn't caught on like Melbourne had, so Melbourne was leading the way. So when I saw the gap in the market, I wanted to become the Melbourne equivalent here in Brisbane. When it comes to work culture, I'm a big advocate that if you won't walk through my place of work and see statements on the wall. Culture is a feeling to me. It's not a theory. And what I mean by that is that it's an after effect of how connected they are with your brand. So culture as a byproduct means that you have to engage. You have to form an emotional connection with people so that they develop brand loyalty. So what we do here at work is make sure that my workers have all got flexibility. I don't care whether they start at 9 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock. If you need to go watch your son race a running race or go to their first church, at school, go. Just do it. Provide the flexibility for my workforce because I want the same thing in my life. So whilst I might work 100 to 120 hours a week, I take all school holidays off. So therefore I keep my life in harmony by going hard in between school holidays, but taking every school holiday off, and my children get my full attention. The only part that's suffered at the moment is me, obviously not hitting the gym as often as I'd like to and having a bad lifestyle because of travel. But I know what the problem is, and it's not a balance problem, it's a harmonious problem. It's in order to get that life in harmony. So that's the concept I live by, is stop worrying about trying to get everything in balance, try and get everything to work in harmony. A business leader that I admire a lot is obviously Richard Branson. I got to meet him 2 years ago in his own home in Necker Island. And the one thing that always stood out was this brand. And I started looking at his model probably 15, 20 years ago, where you'd see him pop up, in airlines, you'd see him pop up in money, you'd see him trying to do cola, you'd see all these different businesses, trains, gyms, and you say, well, it's hard enough running one business, let alone running hundreds of business. How is that possible? And I started to sort of look at his model and looked at it revolved around a brand, and his product is actually brand. It's not trains, it's not airlines, it's not money, it's not cola, it's brand. He actually has become his core business. So he's somebody that I look at. In terms of other people, I like studying people that have failed. Now, that's probably something that I do a little bit different to everybody else. I actually seek comfort and great success out of watching why somebody or a company has failed. Not because I'm a narcissist and want them to fail, but because from that I get to see what they did wrong. I believe if you study companies that do things right, you become an imposter. If you clearly just absorb their principles and apply them. But if you study companies that have done things wrong, you get to understand the why, the do's and the don'ts, and develop strategies to make sure that you're not the next one to fail. Look, I love spending a lot of time with my children outside of work. I've got a 6 and 4-year-old, and I tell you, I've become a better leader, I've become a better entrepreneur, I've become a better boss by watching my children. How they learn the language, how they speak, how they learn with their hands, and how you create discipline. I can look at my children and they can see me as their friend, or when I need to, I can look at my children and say, oh, no, I need to listen to my dad. So therefore, you bring that into business. I don't need to threaten people with their jobs for them to do the right thing. We talk about a personal brand. So I know that I cross-reference a lot, but to me, there's not much difference between personal, professional, and family life. All three have to work in harmony together, and the principles are the same. I think that a balanced person or harmonious person, and I'll take Gandhi's words, says that you should be part of the change you want to see in this world. So therefore I get involved in a lot of stuff that's outside the Bella. I sit on boards for local government, state government. I mentor young people. I speak at schools. I chair boards to make a difference. And it all comes back to that brand of being part of the change that I want to see. So some of the stuff I do, I'm on the board of Brisbane Marketing. I chair the Queen Street Mall Advisory Board. I chair the Queensland Commemorative Events Board for the Premier. I'm the Vice President of the Italian Chamber. I'm an adjunct professor at Griffith University. It's this balance of giving back to community, inspiring the next people coming through. But ultimately the brand sits under, if you want to see change, you've got to be part of it. And one thing that really irritates me is when sideline commentators make comments but aren't getting in and being part of the change they'd want to see. So I make sure that I'm not going to be a passenger in my life, that I'm going to take control, and if I can contribute, then I have to be in amongst it, no matter how busy you are.